Hello, third year students. Today I'll begin Alfred Lord Tennyson's poem Ulysses. I had already given you a brief information about the poem in the last video, where I told you that this poem is a popular example of dramatic monologue. Dramatic monologue is a poem written in the form of a speech by a character, and here in the poem, Ulysses is the character who is speaking before the silent listeners. After spending many years of his life in wars and adventures, Ulysses has finally returned to his kingdom Ithaca, which he doesn't find satisfying, and he expresses his frustration over the monotonous, over the boring domestic life. Now let's begin the textual reading of the poem. I quote, "It little profits that an idle king, by the still hearth, among these barren crags, matched with an aged wife, I meet and dole unequal laws unto a savage race, that hoard and sleep and feed and know not me." So the poem opens with the speaker, that is Ulysses, telling us that it little profits that an idle king by the still hearth. That an idle king, idle means lazy, an inactive king, gains little profit by just sitting around the still hearth. Hearth is a fireplace that is still, with no burning fire in it. And it is also suggestive of the Ulysses' calm and dull life with no fiery activity in it. So he says, "It little profits that an idle king by the still hearth among these barren crags." Barren crags, the rocky island of Ithaca, his kingdom. So he says, there is little benefit for an idle king in sitting by the fireplace among this rocky island. Matched with an aged wife, I meet and dole unequal laws unto a savage race. Matched, that means paired with an aged and elderly wife. He is talking about his wife Penelope, who is also getting old, like Ulysses. Matched with an aged wife, I meet and dole unequal laws unto a savage race. Meet and dole means to give out something by measure. Naap tol kar dena. Here is talking about giving out of rewards and punishments. So he says, I meet and dole unequal laws unto a savage race. Savage means uncivilized, primitive, not refined. So he's talking about giving out of rewards and punishment. So he says, being a king, I spend time in giving out rewards and punishments by unequal laws. Laws that are unequal, imperfect, unto a savage race. Savage race, his subjects, the people of his kingdom. Ulysses, being the king of Ithaca, has to rule by these unequal laws his subjects, whom he calls savage, uncivilized people, that hoard and sleep and feed and know not me. These people of his kingdom, what they do only? Hoard, sleep and feed. They spend their time in storing up materials and wealth, in sleeping and in eating. They have nothing exciting in their lives, and they are the common masses of the people. They follow their fixed routine of domestic life. And know not me. And he says, my subjects, the people of my kingdom do not even know me. Why? Because Ulysses is someone who has always been away from his home, from his kingdom. He had spent most of his life at wars and adventures, so he doesn't feel any connection to them, to his subjects. They do not know him as an adventurer. I cannot rest from travel. I will drink life to the lees. Next he says, I cannot rest from travel. I cannot stop traveling. I will drink life to the lees. Lees means the sediment, the remains gathered at the bottom of a wine. So here the phrase drink life to the lees means living life to the fullest. Ulysses is comparing life to a glass of wine which he wants to drink to its lees, to its very last drop. He is a restless spirit who cannot take a break from the adventures of life and wishes to live his life to its utmost. All times I have enjoyed greatly, have suffered greatly, both with those that loved me and alone on shore, and when through scudding drifts the rainy Hyades wax the dim sea. All times I have enjoyed greatly and suffered greatly. He says that I have had a lot of good times and a lot of bad times. Suffered greatly and enjoyed greatly. Sometimes both with those that loved me and alone on shore. Sometimes with people who loved me and sometimes all by myself. On shore, and when through scudding drifts the rainy Hyades wax the dim sea. Hyades is, according to Greek mythology, is the group of stars in the constellation, and they are often associated with rain. So scudding drifts means is the rainstorms during a sea journey. So he says, I have suffered greatly, I have enjoyed greatly, and sometimes with people who loved me, and sometimes all by myself, on shore, and when through scudding drifts the rainy Hyades wax the dim sea. So, during a sea journey, he says, here Hyades are presented as the agitators of the sea, creating tumult, creating disturbance in the sea. So he's saying that he had experienced all the good and bad times, sometimes on shore and sometimes while sailing through the destructive rainstorms, scudding drifts. I am become a name for always roaming with a hungry heart. Much have I seen and known, cities of men and manners, climates, councils, governments, myself not least, but honored of them all, and drunk delight of battle with my peers, far on the ringing plains of windy Troy. I am become a name, he says, as I have always been on some journey to explore, to find new things. So, I have become famous as a person who, for always roaming with a hungry heart. I am become someone who roams around with a hungry heart, hungry for knowledge, hungry for learning. My name is identified as an explorer who continues to travel with a desire to learn more and more and more. Much have I seen and known, cities of man and manners, climates, councils, governments. He tells that I had been to many places. I had seen them all, known them all. Cities of man and manners, different cultures and lifestyles, their councils and governments. Myself not least, but honored of them all. And everywhere he went, he was honored, he was respected by all. And drunk delight of battle with my peers, far on the ringing plains of windy Troy. And everywhere he went, he was honored, he was respected, and drunk delight of battle with my peers. See how he speaks of battle. He calls it a delight, a pleasure. He says he always enjoyed being at a war with his peers, with his companions, far on the ringing plains of windy Troy. Now he is talking about the Trojan War that he fought for 10 years. He says, I fought in the Trojan War on the ringing plains of windy Troy. Ringing because of the clashing weapons. And he loved that sound of battle. I am a part of all that I have met. He says, and I have become an inseparable part of all that I have ever come across. Yet all experience is an arch where through gleams that untraveled world, whose margin fades forever and forever when I move. He says, I had traveled a lot, explored a lot, fought at the battles as well, and gained a lot of experience, but still, all this experience is an arch. Arch here suggests a semicircle, not a full circle. His experience is not sufficient. It is just an arch, a semicircle in the full circle of life, where through gleams that untraveled world, whose margin fades forever and forever when I move. He says, I achieve a destination, comes to the arch, but through this arch, gleams means shines up. Through this arch gleams that untraveled world, untraveled destination, which is yet to be achieved, and whose margin fades forever and forever when I move. The more I travel, the more the margin or the edges of that world moves further, shifts further. Take for example the horizon, a point where the earth and the sky seem to meet, but when we try to reach that point, the horizon, what happens? It moves further. The more we move, the more it shifts. So there is no end to this journey. Same is happening with Ulysses. For him, gaining experience is limitless. No matter how much of the world he sees, there is always still more to see. So he will continue to go on and see. How dull it is to pause, to make an end, to rust unburnished, not to shine and use. He says, how dull, how boring it is to stop, to just sit around and make an end, to rust unburnished, not to shine and use. He's comparing an idle life to the rusting of an metallic instrument or any other thing that loses its shine when not in use. He says, to rust unburnished, not to shine in use. A person gets rusted just like a metal if he chooses to live an inactive life. In order to shine, one needs to be active. So Ulysses considers it boring to stay idle, to rust unburnished when he can shine in use. As though to breathe were life, life piled on life were all too little, and of one to me little remains. As though to breathe were life. Life is not just about breathing, there should be some adventures in it. Life piled on life were all too little, and of one to me little remains. Life piled on life, he says, multiple lifetimes, even multiple lifetimes wouldn't be enough for him, enough for me. It would be little for all the things he wants to do. And of one to me, little remains. And of this life that he has now, little remains. That means he is getting old. He is almost at the end of one life he has. The death is near. But every hour is saved from that eternal silence. Something more, a bringer of new things. But every hour is saved. But he is saying every hour, every minute of his life from that is saved from that eternal silence. Eternal silence here refers to the death. Before the death comes, every hour of his remaining life would be spent in new things, in new experiences. And while it were for some 3 suns to store and hoard myself, 3 suns, 3 years. He says it was worthless, it was useless for some 3 years to just store, hoard, basically leading a domestic life. And this grey spirit yearning in desire to follow knowledge like a sinking star beyond the utmost bound of human thought. And this grey spirit, his old spirit, still desires to explore more and follow knowledge like a sinking star. Like a sinking star means he is comparing himself to a sinking star. He wishes to follow knowledge beyond the limits of human thought. He says, though I am like a sinking star, I am getting old, but still I want to explore more and thus learning more. Let's stop here. I'll continue with the rest of the poem in the next video. Thank you for today.